Bingyang course question for your 20-minute recording review starting now. When was a time you did something that seemed impossible? It's a good question. A very good question indeed. Seemed impossible. Well, I don't know if it seemed impossible, but it was possible. So, for my YouTube channel, I started my YouTube channel in December 2019. I went full-time YouTuber in July 2021. And the main reason why I wanted to go full-time was that I wanted to ride to every 20 stadiums, every 20 Premier League stadiums in the UK. And that was about a 20-minute, it was about 2,000 kilometer ride. It was gonna take 4 to 6 weeks. And look, physically it's not that hard to cycle 2,000 kilometers, but what I thought was hard was, one, I have my wife and my daughter, so I can't leave them. Two, which meant that I needed about 80 grand of funding to make this trip possible. And well, look, I probably could have scraped 80 grand or could have borrowed 80 grand to do this trip, but I didn't really want to. I wanted to do that with sponsorship. And look, it was hard. And at the time, I probably had 80,000, 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, but it wasn't easy. And 2 years, about a year and a half after I went full-time YouTubing, 2023, I tried. I announced my plan and look for sponsors, and it was a failure. It was a failure in the end. In 2023, I was able to gather about 20 grand of sponsorship. So yeah, it was definitely a failure the first time. But I didn't give up. In 2024, I retried. Sorry, the first time I challenged was 2022. I failed, but I didn't give up. And 2 years later, in 2024, I challenged again. I managed to gather about 160 grand in a sponsorship, and I made that trip possible. Second question. Is there a defining moment that captures your essence, mission? Good questions. Is there a defining moment that captures my essence, my mission? Yeah, yes there is. So now, my mission just got really clear in the last week. And my mission is to embrave humanity. What does that mean? Embrave, is that even a word? Well, it's not. It's not in the dictionary. Embrave. I made that word up. Embrave, E-N-B-R-A-V-E. Embrave. And the reason why I made that word was because I don't want to empower people, it's not quite that. I don't want to encourage people, it's not quite strong. I want to embrave. I want to make people brave. I want to push them forward. I want to make them believe that it's possible, whatever they're trying to do. So that's my mission. And what's a defining moment that captures that mission? So one thing that moved me was that about a year ago, when I announced the closure of my football YouTube channel, one guy gave me a $500 super chat. He's like, whoa, here's $500. Thank you so much for your channel. You changed my life. That was a comment. Thank you so much for your channel. You guys changed my life. $500. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And I replied to this guy, and I remember this vividly. I made the video, I released a video on a Monday evening saying we're going to close the channel. And I woke up the next morning and I saw this $500 super chat. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. A lot of people gave me money that day, but most people like $5, $10, $50, maybe some $100, but $500, that stood out. And his comment was, you changed my life. So that got me curious, and I asked him, wow, that is astonishing. I'm so happy. Can you tell me which video exactly you're talking about? If you can give me an email, that would be great. Send him in his email. And 2 weeks later, he messages me, he emails me, and he says, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much. The video that changed me was this video. And what happened was I was just about to graduate university, and I already had a job offer. And well, he said, I just graduated university and I just started a new job. But since I watched this video about Jose Mourinho made by you, it inspired me, and I felt like it told me, don't give up on your dream. And he said, after I watched you guys, it inspired me, and I pursued my dream to be a manga artist. And that was about 3 years ago. And he said, now I'm happily a professional manga artist, and he writes every week for Monthly Jump, which is it's a huge manga comic in Japan. So yeah, that was a moment that really captured my mission, and that just and when I saw that email, it just made me so happy. Made me so happy. It's like, wow, I'm on it. Like, the video that I made changed someone's life, and that's what I wanted to do in my football channel as well. And I thought, oh, this is it. Like, I was able to fulfill my mission on my football channel, and maybe that's when I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to be a motivational speaker, because I want to embrave people even more, not just this guy, thousands and thousands out there. And I believe that was what I was born to do. Next question. What's the most important lesson you've learnt that changed the way you see the world? Interesting questions. Really interesting question. What's the most important lesson you've learnt that changed the way you see the world? Since my daughter was born 6 years ago, I've had a lot of lessons. Lesson. I'm going to tell you about, not really a lesson, but a philosophy that changed the way that I see the world. But yeah, since my daughter was born, the way that I see the world has changed a lot. But this one is probably the one that's most impactful. Stoicism. There's a concept from Stoicism. And the concept is, there are things you can control in the world, and there are things you can't control in the world. Things you can't control in the world is about 99.999% of what's going on out there. So instead of worrying about this, you should just concentrate on what you can control, which is get good sleep, exercise, eat well, work hard, choose a mission and go pursue. Yeah, this concept of things, there are things that you can control and you can't control, and you're wasting your time if you focus on the things you can't control. Yeah, that was it was more of a concept than a lesson, but that was a lesson that has stuck me ever since, and I believe that's the most important philosophy that's shaping me right now. Next, can you describe a moment in your life when everything changed? Oof. Birth of my daughter, really easy, really easy. She was born 2018, August 8th. Hot summer, hot stinking humid summer in Japan. Yeah, and from that day I'm living for someone else. Yeah, until that day, 2018, so I must have been 36. Yes, I think I was 36. Until that day I was living for myself, especially from the age of 18 to 36. I lived basically only for myself and my pleasure. Oh, and of course, friends and family, but mainly for myself. That day, from that day, I've been living for my daughter. Easy, that one was easy. What's the most significant aha moment you've ever experienced? Well, that was probably that stoicism moment. So let's go with, what's the most important lesson you've learned? Most important lesson I've learned. So, again, this is 2018, November 2018. I was working in corporate at the time. I had never worked for myself. I was always working for corporate. It was probably like my 15th year in corporate. I was 36, approaching 37. That was the rock bottom of my life. It's funny how the rock bottom of my life coincided with the birth of my daughter. But 3 months after my daughter was born, I was working in corporate. I was in rock bottom. I didn't hate my life. I hated myself. Just said, what am I doing, Ken? You're better than this. Every night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. I would be playing League of Legends, and I hated myself. I really hated myself. And back then I'm working for a corporate, and I would just be complaining about the company all the time, every time. There's a shit company, they only care about money, blah, 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 this, that. I was just whinging, whining, complaining about the company. I hated my life. I would go to the bathroom 3-4 times a day and just watch YouTube. Yeah, it was the darkest moment of my life. And the day, I believe it was 2018, November 18th, Thursday, I believe. It was a nice day in Tokyo, sunny. Took my train home, train to work, as usual. Hated life. Then they had the usual sales meeting, and I was always sitting at the back. So in front of me there were 200-300 Japanese salespeople sitting in front of me, all wearing this black suit. Everyone, black hair, black suit. And as usual, the executives will be reporting numbers at the front. Hey, this is the numbers we hit this week. We got our target. Well done, guys. Give us a clap. Yeah. more money, more money. We made more money. Sure, your salary is the same, but it's more money. And, you know, and there's 25-year-old kids who are like, ah, yes, we got it, we hit it. You know, everything is exciting for them. They're still learning, so. And me, I was at the back seeing, thinking, fuck, this is stupid. It doesn't matter how much money we make. Our salary doesn't change. Okay, it might go up $100 a month or something, but yeah, at this stage I was like the bad apple of the company. It was about 1 year and 3 months into that company. I was like the bad apple. So at the back I was all negative. And I've been whinging, complaining about the company for months by that stage. But that morning, I said to myself, hang on. These executives at the front, they look really, 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 really excited. They look excited. They look genuinely excited. Maybe they're good at business. Maybe they were born to do business. And their business is succeeding. And that's why they're excited. Maybe I was just not born to do business. And that's why I'm here and being negative, complaining, bitching and whining every day, all day. That second, I promised myself to post something on Instagram every day. I've always had a dream. I wanted to work in sports. I loved soccer, so I wanted to work in sports. And I had this idea, that sports media idea, but I just wasn't active. I wasn't doing everything I can. And that day I promised myself, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna post something on Instagram every day from now. Let's see how that goes. And I did. Every night before I play League of Legends. That's what it is. Every night before I play League of Legends, I'm gonna post something on Instagram. And I did. 6 weeks later, I had 3,000 followers on Instagram and Twitter. 6,000 followers, that's not bad. And about a year after that, but I kept going, and a year after that, but I kind of pivoted. Like I was always looking at the numbers, this is good, that good. Then a year after that, I started YouTube, and 18 months later, I left corporate and became a full-time YouTuber. So the most important lesson I've learned that changed the way you see the world, well, yeah, I stopped blaming. I stopped blaming everyone else. That's what I was doing. I was blaming corporate, the executives, the company, probably Japan, the world. I stopped pointing finger, and I started looking in the man in the mirror. That's not what happened, but that's what I did. I stopped doing this and I started doing this. I was like, fuck it. It's not them, it's me. What can I do? And that really changed my life after that. So yes, that's the most important thing that changed the way I see the world. Thank you. Okay, last question. Tell me about a time you forced a challenge that reshaped your perspective. A challenge. So last July, I cycled around 20 football stadiums in UK. I did about 2,000 kilometers in challenge. Yeah, so I did about 2,000 kilometers in 1 month. It was physically very, very demanding. And I believe it was day 11 of the ride, so probably about 2 weeks into my trip. I rode from Manchester to a little town called Richmond. It was about 130 kilometers, so about 0.9 miles. Well, more than that, no, about 90 miles. It's about 130 kilometers, so it's about 90 miles. But that day it was rainy. Not only that, but that day it was the steepest climb of my trip. Actually, it was like climbing a little mountain. And that day happened to be raining. And to give me myself my motivation, I booked a hotel called King's Head Hotel in Richmond. It was like a 5-star hotel. It was beautiful. And I booked a suite. Like, I think it was £250 or something, like $500 a night. It was expensive. It was an expensive night, but I thought to myself, I'm gonna fucking climb this mountain and I'm gonna stay in this King's Head Hotel and I'm gonna get a room service, eat a steak, yeah. But yeah, as the day went and went, it became harder and harder, and it became so hard. First, I was riding, then it was torrential rain everywhere. It was a bit windy as well. First, a bridge broke in front of me. So I had to get back and go around. I trespassed someone's farm. Then the big challenge was the hill. I had to climb, I believe, 4.5 kilometers straight, steep. At one stage it was so steep that I had to get on my tippy toes to push my bike. It felt like this. And completed that climb in like an hour. I was exhausted. And at the top of the mountain, the wind was like swirling. It was like a storm. It was a thunderstorm. It was crazy. And look, if I was smarter, I probably should have stopped somewhere and said, "Hey, the storm's bad, so I'm gonna stay at this B&B and maybe King's Head Hotel tomorrow." But I didn't. That day I just did not give up. I just wanted to go and climb this mountain, and I started to descend. Okay, great. Then I punctured my tire, probably about 80 kilometers into my journey. Punctured tire. My hand, it was so cold, my hand, I couldn't feel anything. Couldn't feel my toes, couldn't feel my hand. When I punctured my tire, and in the tire there's like little cap. I tried to open it. My hand just wasn't too strong enough. I can't open it. So I can't pump the tire, you know? I tried to do it with my teeth, I couldn't. I ended up doing this, like 2 fingers. Got it open, pumped it, but it was punctured, so I couldn't do it. Anyway, that was about 80 kilometers. I rode that bike with one flat tire for the next 5 hours, and I got to King's Head Hotel. It was easily the toughest day of my life. And I got over that challenge. And how did that reshape my perspective? Well, I already believed it, but it solidified even more that if I put my mind to it, if I put a goal, I will make that happen. I just proved that. Yeah, I can do anything if I put my mind to it. And I just proved that. Alright, that's my 24 minutes. Thank you very much. This is my first recording of Record and Review. I'm going to review myself, and I'm going to start working on my presentation skill, because the world needs me. The world needs me to give that, to embrace people, give more positive impact to the world. Thank you very much for watching. Be motivated, be passionate. See you.